Grim morning and welcome to the Grim. I'm your host, Kristin. On today's episode, we'll be opening the gate and entering Gunntown Cemetery, located in Naugatuck, Connecticut. The aroma of coffee mingles in the air. The gates stand open. Step carefully. It's time to descend into the hauntings of history. In the quiet folds of Connecticut, where the Naugatuck River bends through mist and memory, lies a settlement nearly swallowed by time itself. Its name drifts through history like a faint echo, Gunntown, a whisper from the old world, a simple homage to the families who first carved their lives into this untamed soil. It was here in the year 1970 that the settlers chose a modest hill upon which to lay their dead, a consecrated rise of earth where silence took rot, and the living turned to stone. This is one of Naugatuck's oldest resting places, a small hill where generations keep silent watch over the living below. Beneath the moss-filled slate lie no kings or conquerors, but something far more enduring, the bones of those who helped shape the wilderness into home. These were the early souls of New England, farmers, builders, and dreamers, whose hands bore both toil and faith. Among them rest the patriots of a newborn nation, veterans of the Revolution, whose spirits still seem to linger in the cool, unsettled air. Each name etched into stone, each date fading, is a pulse from a world still finding its breath, a nation yet not certain it would endure. The physical landscape here speaks of endurance and of surrender. Walk among the plots today and you're immediately struck by a sense of isolation. The cemetery is not manicured or grand, but modest, embraced by old farmland and forest. The stones themselves are silent, weathered sentinels. They're simple slate and sandstone etched with biblical epitaphs, warnings, blessings, and prayers for the soul. Many of them have leaned and bowed, not from any great disturbance, but as though under the sheer weight of centuries. They look less like monuments and more like figures kneeling in perpetual prayer. It's a place that feels remote, lonely, and yet strangely, disturbingly alive. But the history of Gunntown doesn't rest neatly beneath the surface. The past doesn't simply wait for the turning of a page. The past breathes here, in the way the wind whips through the old pines, in the unsettling cold that clings to the shadows. And they say in the faint, deliberate footsteps that shouldn't be heard when you stand alone in the deep twilight. It's in this breathing stillness that the stories truly begin. These stories are divided into two great threads, the founders who wrestled the community from the wilderness, and the soldiers who fought to secure its fragile promise. In the worn slate you'll find the marker of David Wooster. Born in the colonies, he was a man defined by the great struggle for American liberty. Wooster was not just a patriot, he was an active defender of this young nation. He bore arms in the Revolutionary War, a soldier in the bloody, confusing fight against the British Crown. His service helped forge the very independence that allowed communities like Gunntown to thrive. When he finally laid down his musket, he returned to this quiet corner of Connecticut, a war-weary man who helped settle the town he fought to keep free. His stone stands as a testament to the heavy price paid for the right to rest in this soil. He's interred beside his wife Anna, a constant reminder that war was not just fought by men on the fields, but endured by the families they left behind. The resting place speaks of love and loss intertwined, two lives bound in the shadow of a nation's birth. Yet even as the echoes of war began to fade, new hands were already shaping what peace had left behind. From those hands came the Gunns, the families whose name would lend this place its soul. The name of the cemetery, Gunntown, tells you everything you need to know about the importance of families like the Gunns. Enos Gunn represents the earliest, most determined settlers. He was a man of the land, one of the original proprietors who purchased and surveyed the territory that would become this small farming community. His life was not one of grand battles, but of ceaseless toil, clearing timber, breaking ground, and building a home for his many children. His legacy is not written in marble, but in the stone walls and the enduring fields surrounding this cemetery. Enos and his wife Abigail laid the foundations of this social world. His story is the history of hard labor, early loss, as evidenced by the many infant graves of the Gunns in the surrounding plots, and the ultimate success of establishing a permanent rooted life in an unforgiving new world. His passing in 1813 marks the end of an era, leaving the community in the hands of the generation he raised in the shadow of war. Perhaps the most compelling lives are those that bridge the gap between worlds. Consider Leverett Osborn. Born in 1799, he was a child of the new century, his lifetime spanning the transformation from a fledgling agrarian republic to an industrial nation in motion. While his forebears fought the British, Leverett witnessed the War of 1812 and lived through the turmoil of the Civil War. His story mirrors the evolution of Naugatuck itself, from an isolated farming settlement to a rising borough shaped by the hum of brass and the scent of rubber. He was a man of business and of community, a witness to the progress that moved faster than any generation before him. His years stretched out long enough to see entire generations buried, even as he prepared his own rest beneath the same modest stones as the revolutionary soldiers who came before him. Leverett Osborn stands as the anchor between eras, from the colonial first scratchings to the recognizable world of the late 19th century. And in his long sleep, he reminds us that no matter how the world changes beyond these gates, the weight of the past endures here, silent, steadfast, and eternal. We leave behind the cold comfort of history now, dear listeners, and step into something far less certain, the chill of the unknown. It is the week of Halloween, when the veil thins and the shadows seem to breathe. There couldn't be a better time to wander into a haunted cemetery. Gunntown is not only known for its patriots and pioneers who rest beneath its bowed stones, but for the uneasy energies that linger among them. Here the air grows heavier, the light fades faster, and the boundary between the living and the dead seems to tremble. When the dusk settles over Gunntown Road, the wind carries more than the scent of pine and damp earth. There are whispers of phantom music, a sound without a source, a melody that refuses to die. Some say it's the ghostly scratch of a fiddle. Others hear a solemn hymn, drifting as though from a long-forgotten service. Witnesses describe the sound as utterly mournful, a tune for the deeply sorrowful, a song for the forgotten. Is it the ghost of a fiddler buried long ago with his bow, playing a tune that refuses to die? Or the faint echo of funerals past, drifting across the centuries like a memory caught in the wind? Whatever it is, the sound does more than haunt the air. It reminds you that these stones hold lives once lived, and that past, though silent, still reaches out. In the central older section of the cemetery, a more tragic and elusive figure is sometimes spotted, known as the Phantom Child. He's described as a young boy dressed in the faded 19th century clothing of a settler's son. He's seen darting quickly between the weathered headstones, a heartbreaking vision of innocence meeting the permanence of death. Sometimes visitors claim to hear his laughter, a brief, joyful sound. Other times it's a faint, heart-wrenching cry. The encounter is always fleeting. No matter how swiftly you turn, no matter how quickly you move to approach him, he vanishes before you can reach the marker he is hiding behind. He's the spectral embodiment of a life cut short, a reminder that the great mystery of death claims both the old and the heartbreakingly young. But not all the presences here are mournful or childlike. There's also a darkness that is more imposing and deliberate. Many visitors have claimed to encountered what they call the Shadow Man. He's described as a tall, dark figure devoid of features, often seen pacing near the dense back edge of the property. At times he's motionless, a silhouette against the twilight. For others, he's seen following quietly just outside the edge of a flashlight beam. His appearance seems to be tied to a disruptive energy. There's numerous first-hand accounts detailing how cell phones, cameras, and lights flicker and fail when this figure draws near. Who is he, though? Some believe he's the restless spirit of a grieving father from the 1800s, forever patrolling the perimeter to watch over his family plots. Others suggest he's something older, a protective, more territorial echo of the very land itself, resenting the intrusion of the living. Regardless of his origin, he brings with him a cold, palatable sense of being watched. Beyond these distinct sightings, Gunntown Cemetery carries an undeniable, almost hostile energy. It's a place where instincts speak louder than reason. Dogs refuse to enter, barking frantically from the road. Visitors report sudden dramatic drops in temperature, often near certain graves, and the air can turn unnaturally cold even on summer nights. Photographs sometimes capture orbs and unexplained mists, while electronic devices spike with EMF readings and malfunction, even in the absence of wires or metal. The cemetery's reputation for the paranormal was cemented when Ed and Lorraine Warren, famed investigators of the unexplained, deemed Gunntown officially haunted. Countless accounts have since emerged revealing a variety of hauntings. Shadowy figures are said to move silently among the tombstones. Disembodied voices and laughter, often attributed to children, echo across the grounds. Apparitions appear as well, a man holding a lantern, a young boy, or even a black dog wandering the paths. Many visitors report the unnerving sensation of being watched or followed. Some feel an unexpected calm, a fleeting peace in the presence of these spirits, while others leave drained, dizzy, or emotionally unsettled. Yet it's the subtle intrusions that chill the most. The brush of the unseen fingers along the shoulder, whispers that form just beneath the wind, or the uncanny feeling of being held in place, as if your feet were stuck to the ground. Each encounter is a reminder that the dead here may not be entirely at rest, and that the boundary between this world and the next is far thinner than it seems. This is why in local lore, Guntown is often referred to as a thin place, a site where the veil between the living and the dead is frayed. Here the past and the present bleed into one another. Here the history we discussed earlier is not just something to read, it's something to feel, something to fear. Because in Guntown the dead do not merely rest, they linger. We leave the stone walls of Guntown now, but the cemetery doesn't leave us. It settles into the quiet places of the mind, a perfect embodiment of New England's ghostly heart. It's here in this small enclosed patch of Connecticut earth that we realize history is not merely a sequence of dates, but a constant heavy presence. Guntown is a place where the time loops endlessly. The drumbeat of the Revolutionary soldier echoes alongside the laughter of a 19th century child. The solemn hymn of a funeral from the 1790s plays over a sudden sharp growl of a spectral hound. The pioneers and veterans buried beneath the moss were never truly laid to rest. Their lives, struggles, and sudden endings have become a part of the ground itself. Guntown is alive with the memory and shadow, a thin place where centuries converge and where the past whispers just beneath the surface. Even as we close this chronicle, remember, in the deepest silence, the history and the hauntings of the forgotten are never more than a whisper away. If you'd like to bring a little bit of that eerie charm to your own world, the Grim has its shop on our website filled with cozy, spooky merch perfect for chilly nights. Find us at www.the-grim.com and take a piece of the haunt home with you. For now, the stories of Guntown slid back into stone, and the dead return to their uneasy rest. Yet they're never silent for long. Thank you for walking with us through the veil into Guntown Cemetery, descending once more into the hauntings of history. The gate is sealed, the veil drawn, yet death keeps no calendar, and so we shall return, as we always do, on the Grim.